3 months ago, you bought a $749 Samsung at Best Buy. The salesperson said it was the most popular TV in the store. Reviews backed it up. You got it home, mounted it on the wall, and for 6 weeks, it was perfect. Then the smart TV software started stuttering. Then one side of the screen started looking slightly dimmer than the other. You call Samsung. They tell you to factory reset it. You do. Same problem. They schedule a repair tech. 3 weeks out. The tech shows up, looks at it for 10 minutes, and tells you the panel is failing and it's not covered because they classify it as cosmetic degradation. You're 8 months into owning a $749 TV, and you're being told to buy another one. Here's what the salesperson didn't tell you. Not all TV brands fail at the same rate. Sony loses roughly 3% of units within 5 years. Some budget brands, we're talking 20% or higher. That's not bad luck. That's a predictable outcome built into the price. The difference between a good TV brand and a bad one isn't just picture quality. It's what happens when something goes wrong, because something always eventually goes wrong. Today, I'm ranking every major TV brand you can actually buy in 2026. Worst to best. Based on reliability data from Consumer Reports, longevity testing from RTINs, service call data from Yale Appliance, and verified owner reviews from Reddit, Amazon, and Best Buy. No marketing, no sponsored opinions, just the data and what it actually means for you. Let's start at the bottom. Number 12, Westinghouse, the zombie brand that keeps taking your money. This is not the Westinghouse your parents knew. That company sold the brand name decades ago. What's left is a licensing agreement slapped onto cheaply manufactured panels from whoever bids the lowest each production cycle. Consumer Reports gives Westinghouse a poor reliability rating, one of only a handful of brands that CR won't recommend at any price point. The most documented failures, backlight strips dying before the 1-year mark, smart TV software that crashes without warning, and firmware that never gets updated past launch. The 43-inch Westinghouse WA43UFX runs $179 at Walmart. That sounds like a deal. But the backlight strips are so underbuilt that a single failed LED can take out a quarter of the screen. Westinghouse doesn't stock replacement parts nationally. Their customer service line routes to a third-party call center with limited ability to actually resolve anything. One owner wrote, Westinghouse, 50-inch, 11 months in, half the screen went dark. Called support, got transferred 3 times. No one could help. Dragged it to the curb. $229.29 in the trash. That's not an outlier. Scroll through any major retail review site and you'll find the same story repeated hundreds of times. Bottom line, avoid Westinghouse entirely. It doesn't matter if it's $60 cheaper than the next option on the shelf. The savings vanish the first time something goes wrong, and the odds are high that something will. But here's the thing, the next brand on this list costs more, significantly more, and it has almost the same failure rate. Number 11, Vizio. When the value proposition disappears. Vizio was the original budget TV success story. 15 years ago, they were the brand that proved you didn't have to spend $2,000 to get a decent flat screen. That reputation has coasted a long way. Today, it no longer holds up. Consumer Reports gives Vizio a fair to poor reliability rating depending on the product line. Their value TVs, the MQ series specifically, have drawn persistent complaints about uneven backlighting, screen uniformity issues, and SmartCast software that slows down dramatically after 18 to 24 months of use. The Vizio MQX 65-inch sells for around $549. That puts it in direct competition with the TCL QM8, which is more reliable and better reviewed at a similar price. The difference isn't just performance, it's what happens after you buy. Vizio's in-store support is handled by Best Buy's Geek Squad, because Vizio doesn't have its own service network. If your TV needs a repair, you're navigating a chain of accountability between 2 companies who both think the other one should be handling it. One verified reviewer wrote, "Bought the Vizio MQ7 for $699. 2 years in, the left side of the screen is noticeably darker than the right. Support told me that's normal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear on a 2-year-old TV. Done with Vizio forever." Vizio's other problem: they were acquired by Walmart in 2023 for $2.3 billion, primarily for the SmartCast advertising data platform. The TV hardware isn't the product anymore. The viewing data is. Every streaming service you watch, every ad you skip, it feeds back to Walmart's advertising business. You can opt out, but you have to know to do it. Bottom line, Vizio is not the value brand it used to be. For the same money, you can do better with TCL or even an entry-level Hisense OLED. Skip it unless you find a significant clearance deal on a P-series model. Number 10. Hisense. Good specs. Unpredictable quality control. Hisense is the brand people discover when they want the features of a premium TV at half the price. And sometimes, that works out. Sometimes it doesn't. The problem is you can't reliably predict which outcome you're getting. Consumer Reports projects a roughly 18 to 20% failure rate for Hisense TVs within 5 years. That's not a rounding error compared to Sony's 3%. That's a fundamentally different product. Westinghouse ran extended reliability testing on multiple Hisense U-series panels and documented backlight inconsistencies and panel variance that suggested quality control gaps at the manufacturing level, meaning 2 identical model numbers could perform differently out of the box. The Hisense U8N 65-inch sells for around $1,099. That's not a budget TV. For that money, you're one model step below a Sony Bravia 7 or an LG C5 OLED. The picture quality on a good unit is competitive, but the variance is the problem. One Amazon reviewer put it this way: ordered the U8N. First unit had a buzzing backlight. Returned it. Second unit had stuck pixels in the bottom corner. Returned that. Third unit is fine, but I shouldn't have needed 3 tries. That's the Hisense experience in a sentence. It might be great. It might be a problem. Hisense's customer service has improved since 2022. But replacement and repair timelines still run 2 to 4 weeks in most markets. Bottom line, if you're buying Hisense, buy from a retailer with a no-questions return policy, Costco being the best option, and inspect the panel carefully within the first 2 weeks. The U8N at Costco is a reasonable gamble. Anywhere else, the risk starts to outweigh the savings. Number 9. TCL. The budget brand that actually tries. TCL is the most interesting story in the budget TV space, because unlike Westinghouse or Vizio, they're actually investing in the product. Consumer Reports gives TCL a fair reliability rating. Not great, but meaningfully better than Hisense or Vizio at comparable price points. Their QM8 series has become the benchmark for sub-$1,000 performance, with mini LED backlighting, a 144Hz panel, and Google TV software that actually holds up over time. The TCL QM851G 65-inch runs about $999 at Best Buy, and RTing Jings has called it one of the best-performing TVs under $1,000 for gaming and sports. Peak brightness over 2,000 nits, with a full-array local dimming system that competes with TVs at twice the price. That's a real achievement for a brand that was selling low-budget Roku TVs 5 years ago. The weakness is after-sales support. TCL's service network in the United States is thin. If you need a repair outside of a major metro area, you may be looking at a 3 to 5 week wait. The warranty is 1 year, standard, with no easy path to extension. One Reddit commenter said it well: "The QM8 is an incredible picture for $999. But I'm genuinely afraid of what happens if it breaks in year 2. There's no real backup plan." That anxiety is valid, but for a 5-year expected lifespan on a TV you're using moderately, the odds are in your favor. Bottom line, the TCL QM851G is the best value in the under $1,000 bracket right now. If you're in a major metro area and can get local service support, it's a strong buy. Just don't expect the same ownership experience you'd get from a Sony or LG. And speaking of LG, they're next. And they're more complicated than their reputation suggests. Number 8. LG. Two completely different companies depending on which TV you buy. LG is the best and worst TV brand in the market at the same time. Depending on which product line you're buying, you're getting a completely different experience. Their OLED lineup, the C5 and G5 specifically, is the gold standard for picture quality. Ratings has consistently ranked the LG C5 as the best TV for most buyers. Deep blacks, near-perfect uniformity, response times that gaming monitors envy, and Consumer Reports gives LG OLED models a good reliability rating. Now here's what they don't tell you at the OLED display in the showroom. LG also makes budget LED TVs. The UR series, the UQ series, and those products have a fair to poor reliability rating from Consumer Reports. Same brand name, completely different quality tier. And a lot of people walk into Best Buy looking at the LG badge and assume they're getting something close to the OLED experience. They're not. The LG C5 55-inch OLED runs about $1,499. The LG UR7300 55-inch runs $449. They share a logo and nothing else. The UR7300 has known issues with backlight uniformity and WebOS software that slows down significantly after 18 to 24 months. 2 years later, the backlighting is patchy and the smart TV runs like a computer from 2012. Lesson learned. Should have stretched the budget for the OLED. The other LG concern, and this is real, is burn-in risk on their OLED panels. It's less of an issue than it was 3 years ago, and LG has improved pixel refresh technology significantly. But if you run a news channel with a static ticker for hours a day, burn-in is still possible within 2 to 3 years. For normal viewing habits, it's not a realistic concern. Bottom line, if you're buying LG, buy OLED or don't bother. The C5 or G5 are exceptional TVs. Their LED budget lineup is not worth the LG premium. Know which product you're actually buying before you hand over your card. Number 7. Samsung, the most popular brand with the most complicated ownership story. Samsung sells more TVs in the United States than any other brand. That fact does not mean they make the most reliable TVs. It means they have the best marketing and the widest distribution. Here's the actual ownership data. Consumer Reports gives Samsung a fair to good reliability rating depending on the product line. Their QLED and Neo-QLED models perform better than their entry-level TU and CU series. Ratings documents that Samsung's 2024 and 2025 Neo-QLED panels have class-leading brightness. The QN90D and QN95D regularly top brightness benchmarks above 2500 nits. That's real. The picture quality on their flagship products is legitimately impressive. The problems are specific and documented. Samsung's QLED panels use a VA panel type that produces excellent contrast but has narrow viewing angles, typically around 30 degrees before color and contrast noticeably shift. If you're watching from an off-angle seat, that matters. Sony and LG both offer better off-angle performance in comparable price ranges. Samsung's Tizen Smart TV platform is fast and well-designed, but it is one of the most aggressive data-collecting TV operating systems on the market. ACR, automatic content recognition, is enabled by default. Samsung's privacy policy explicitly states they may share viewing data with third-party partners. You can disable it, but it's buried in the settings. And then there's the support experience. Samsung has an authorized service network, but authorized doesn't mean fast. Multiple verified reviews document repair timelines of 3 to 6 weeks for panel issues. That's a long time to be without a TV you paid $1,800 for. One owner wrote, Samsung QN85B, 14 months old, the right side started going darker. Called Samsung, they sent a tech. Tech said the panel needs replacing. That was 6 weeks ago. Still waiting on the part. Bottom line, Samsung makes genuinely excellent televisions in their Neo QLED lineup. The QN90D and QN95D are real competitors. But go in knowing the support experience is slower than Sony's. The viewing angles are narrower than LG OLED, and the privacy settings need to be adjusted before you stream your first show. So if Samsung's support experience is a known issue, what does the brand that costs twice as much actually get you? Number 6. Sony, the brand that quietly got everything right. Sony loses roughly 3% of units within 5 years. That's the number Consumer Reports pulls from their owner satisfaction surveys. It's the lowest failure rate of any major TV brand in this ranking. Not close to the lowest. The lowest. That number alone tells you something. But the reason behind it matters more. Sony builds its flagship TVs, the Bravia 7, Bravia 9, A95L OLED, on a hardware philosophy that prioritizes calibration accuracy and processing over raw spec numbers. Their cognitive processor XR chip is not a marketing gimmick. Ertings has documented that Sony's motion handling and upscaling performance consistently outperforms Samsung and LG at equivalent price points. A 1080p cable broadcast on a Sony Bravia 9 looks meaningfully better than the same signal on a comparable Samsung. The A95L OLED 65-inch runs about $2,799. The Bravia 765-inch mini LED comes in around $1,799. Neither is a budget purchase, and that's the honest caveat with Sony. Their competitive edge lives in the $1,500 and up range. Below that, you're getting a mid-tier Sony that doesn't carry the same advantages. Sony's support experience is the other side of the story. Authorized service centers are faster than Samsung's on average. When something goes wrong, which again, based on the data, is rare, Sony's claims process is more navigable than most of the brands on this list. One owner wrote, "Had my Sony Bravia XR for 3 years, 0 issues. Then a firmware update caused audio sync problems. Called Sony. They acknowledged the bug, pushed a patch within 2 weeks, and followed up to confirm it was fixed. That's how it should work." Bottom line, Sony is the safest major TV brand for long-term ownership. If your budget is above $1,500, the Bravia 7 or A95L OLED should be your starting point. If you're spending less than that, LG's OLED C5 is a stronger buy at the same price. The overall rankings, what this all means for you. Here's how the full list shakes out based on reliability data, owner experience, and real-world support quality. Worst to best. 12. Westinghouse. Avoid entirely. Not worth any price. 11. Vizio. No longer the value brand it once was. Better options at every price. 10. Hisense. High variance. Only buy from retailers with strong return policies. 9. TCL. Legitimate value in the QM8 series. Thin support network. 8. LG. Buy OLED or skip. The C5 is excellent. Their LED budget line is not. 7. Samsung. Great picture quality at the flagship level. Slower support and privacy concerns. 6. Sony. The most reliable major brand. Worth the premium if you can reach the $1,500 range. The 3 things you should take away from this video. First, the brand name on the box is not a guarantee of quality within that brand. LG makes the best OLED on the market and some of the worst budget LED TVs. Samsung's Neo QLED flagships and their entry-level CU series are not remotely the same product. Know the model number, not just the brand. Second, the failure rate difference between Sony and the budget brands is not marginal, it is significant. If you buy a Hisense or Westinghouse and it fails in year 2, you are not just buying a new TV. You're losing the original purchase price, the time spent dealing with support, and possibly the cost of installation again. Calculate the real cost of a cheap TV before you assume the price tag is the whole story. Third, the best all-around TV purchase under $1,000 right now is the TCL QM851G. The best under $1,500 is the LG C5 OLED. The best overall if you want something that will simply work, look great, and not give you a support nightmare is the Sony Bravia 7. If you're buying for a bedroom or a secondary room where picture quality matters less than price, the TCL 4 Series or the Hisense A6N from Costco are reasonable low-risk bets. Just know what you're accepting. What's the best TV brand you've owned over the years? And the worst? Drop it in the comments, specifically the model and how long it lasted. That's genuinely useful information for everyone watching this. And if this video saved you from making a $600 mistake, subscribing takes about 2 seconds, and it means I can keep doing this research.